Hello, and welcome to our presentation on creating high-performance teams. My name is Jalen Phillips. Our other teammates today are Felicia Harrell, Cameron Mason, Sydney Tomlinson, and Pam Prado, who you'll hear from throughout the presentation. To talk about teaming, the first thing to understand are there are four foundational pillars based off of Edmondson's book on teaming in 2012. These foundational teaming pillars are speaking up, collaboration, experimentation, and reflection, and you'll hear references to these throughout the presentation today. To start off, we're going to talk about the difference between groups and teams. Then we're going to go into some barriers to both face-to-face and virtual teams. And then we're going to give you some recommended best team practices to improve your team's performance. So to start, I will kick it over to Felicia to talk about the difference between groups and teams.
Thank you for the introduction, Jalen. Hello, my name is Felicia Harrell. Our presentation covers several aspects of teaming, but first, it's important to reflect on what it means to be a team. Teams are a unique build and offer a supportive learning experience that helps develop individuals and organizations. Furthermore, not all groups are teams, and it's important to differentiate between a team and a group and how each one operates in regards to your organization's performance and mission. A group is a collection of individuals who coordinate separate work products to achieve a goal. These are often found in large organizations where individuals are coordinated in a group but exhibit independent results and accountability. The most effective working groups share information that deliver precise decisions that increase a person's job performance. Groups deliver and function differently than teams. Some of the characteristics that determine a group are the identification of one central focused leader. Accountability resides only in the individual and their personal working product. The purpose of the group corresponds with the organizational mission. Performance is measured indirectly and by the influence of others. Meetings are distributed in a direct and efficient manner. And within those meetings, discussions are organized and established with delegation. One distinguished component of a team is shared leadership roles. All members share and contribute as a whole while taking accountability in their area of expertise. The team determines a specific goal that inspires and challenges the team. Each member is committed to a common purpose. Teaming requires individual and mutual accountability. It's directly measured performance and effectiveness by results of the work product. Members work collectively on products, and all members contribute equal amounts of work. Finally, the team encourages open-ended discussion and feedback. Now that we have established the difference between a team and a group, are you able to tell if you have a team or group and which one follows your type of management and goals for your organization? It's important to know the difference between groups and teams because teams can improve overall performance and heighten employee engagement. Now, Cameron will discuss the barriers to face-to-face teaming.
Thanks, Felicia. While high-performance teams can drastically affect the success of an organization, both face-to-face and virtual teamings have specific barriers that can plague the teaming process. The first barrier is allowing team members to speak up, and that's directly related to psychological safety, which can positively affect creativity, collaboration, and overall workplace morale. If utilized correctly, psychological safety can remove peer judgment, promote learning from failures, and admitting when mistakes are made. The second barrier affecting face-to-face teaming is an interpersonal conflict, which occurs when two or more team members experience an unproductive disagreement or have clashing work styles, which can ultimately hinder achieving a common goal. According to Sinek, the 21st century organization experiences an abundance of external threats and competition, that the role of the leader is to minimize internal conflicts and make their employees feel safe in the workplace. The third barrier experienced is challenging authority. It's crucial to the teaming process to designate a deviant to challenge the group, creating interpersonal conflict among the team. The team leader should remain mindful of these deviant individuals to ensure that they're not disrupting or negatively affecting the team as a whole. Tam mentioned that these deviant individuals can negatively affect the team, which ultimately is translated into red zones and green zones. When the specific individual challenges authority or other team members, producing harmful effects, the group's placed in the red zone. Whereas removing that particular individual and creating a positive environment places the group in the green zone. The fourth barrier is having a lack of clear direction or designated member roles. The purpose of a team is to collaborate and achieve a common goal. However, without defined roles and guidance, the team would be working as individuals rather than a group to complete the task. Both the leader and team members alike should be aware of the knowledge boundary. Each member has specific knowledge base, educational background, or professional experience to provide the team. To be successful, the team or organizational leaders should utilize each team member to their full capabilities. A lack with a clear direction. The fifth barrier plagues face-to-face teaming and unclear meeting objectives. Quatu advised teams need a compelling and clear direction, otherwise team members can pursue opposing agendas. Teams commonly have open-ended discussions, problem-solving meetings, and collaboration and accountability among the group. During these meetings, the sixth barrier, overt body language and personality may be experienced. While it's not a common obstacle, poor body language and excessive personality can negatively affect the team rather. Therefore, it's crucial to remain professional and not overtly exhibit body language. These are some of the common goals that are faced by face-to-face teamings in the workplace. Next, Sydney will talk about the common barriers affecting virtual teaming processes.
Thanks, Cameron. So many of the challenges Cameron mentioned present themselves in virtual teaming as well. However, it's important to discuss some unique barriers that virtual teams face. While virtual teams present vast opportunities for teaming by bringing diverse members together for added creativity and innovative solutions, barriers are still present in three main categories. These categories include technology, communication, and collaboration. And I'll go into a little more detail for each of these. So first, technology. The work from home anywhere migration that the COVID-19 pandemic mandated exposed many companies' gaps in supplying adequate technological support to remote employees who may not have a home office or sufficient technology. This support includes access to technology for individuals, such as laptops, webcams for video conferencing, and adequate internet service, in addition to collaborative needs, such as software like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or Slack, to name a few. Lastly, some employees may lack adequate knowledge to troubleshoot the technical issues at home that are typically reserved for an on-site IT team. This creates a barrier in an employee's ability to easily reach out for support, allow the IT team to go to the employee's desk, see the problem, and fix it on the spot. For communication barriers, virtual teams lack the everyday and formal dialogue of face-to-face teams that help build trust and maintain engagement. Communicating through phone and email also lacks the added context of body language and tone, which can lead to misinterpretations and interpersonal conflicts. Moreover, virtual teams, particularly globally dispersed teams, may encounter cultural communication barriers. For example, Western cultures tend to speak directly and explicitly, where hidden meaning is unlikely. However, many other cultures speak indirectly and embed meanings in the way they present their message. This type of communication barrier can make it difficult for team members to effectively communicate their comfortable style and flow of communication. Lastly, different language fluency and accents present another potential barrier for communication. While English is the internationally accepted language for business, some knowledge can be difficult to translate well into English and lead to frustration and an incorrect perception of intelligence. For example, one team member can have an intelligent, well-prepared idea that makes sense in their native language, but can encounter difficulty in perfectly translating that idea into English, potentially missing important details or the full meaning of the idea. Finally, for collaboration, virtual teams encounter challenges when setting deadlines and scheduling meetings when team members are dispersed throughout different time zones. For example, our team of 5 that's presenting to you includes 3 different time zones varying from a 2-hour difference to a 9-hour difference. So when Cameron says that he can have a project completed by 5 p.m. on Monday in his time zone, it's already 1 a.m. on Tuesday in Jalen's time zone. This creates an added layer of consideration and potential miscommunication for deadlines. And regardless of time zones, virtual teams are also not able to meet in person with team members when necessary to quickly resolve an issue or brainstorm a new idea. Even video conferencing capability does not solve brainstorming and creativity challenge present in virtual teaming. It's still more challenging to have a stream of concurrent conversations over video, hindering the ability for individuals to build upon one another's ideas. These are some of the main obstacles to consider when leading virtual teams. Next, Pam and Jalen will explore best practices for effective teaming.
Thank you, Sydney. Hello, my name is Pam, and today my teammate Jalen and I will be covering best practices for building high-performance teams. As our team has shared with you today, we now understand the differences between groups and teams, the common barriers with teams, and now we'll look at best practices for building high-performance teams. According to Edmondson, these best practices are essential to virtual and face-to-face teaming in building a high-performance team and are practiced simultaneously. High-performance teams are dependent on the actions of a leader fostering an organizational learning environment. What is an organizational learning environment? It is when teams act, reflect on feedback, and adapt to improve. We will identify best practices for leadership in fostering this environment through framing a purpose, psychological safety, learning to learn from failures, and spanning boundaries. Let's start with purpose. Leaders are integral in framing a clear, unified team purpose that members care about and buy into for achieving a bigger vision. According to Edmondson, how a leader frames a purpose will influence the behaviors of others, create goals, and give meaning to people. In bringing team members together from different walks of life, be it occupations, missions, levels of society, industries, a leader must have an urgent, persuasive, and inspiring purpose in teaming. We have seen in the recent event of the global crisis of COVID-19 affecting and killing people worldwide. People, industries, governments, and many others came together with a purpose to help others or improve a situation and innovate. According to Wartzman, leaders must define their compelling purpose for their teams. Next slide. Psychological safety. What is it? Psychological safety is where individuals can express their ideas or mistakes without the fear of being negatively impacted or humiliated. According to Edmondson, these are the steps needed in creating psychological safety. First, a leader needs to frame the work as a learning problem, and everyone's input is respected and needed. This step here will encourage team members to speak up. Second, when a leader acknowledges the fallibility of not knowing everything, it creates safety for others to share ideas and thoughts. According to Blanchard, people need to learn from each other to stay advanced because one individual is not as smart as all of us together. Lastly, when teaming, be curious and ask many questions. These questions will encourage individuals to have a voice in the goals and the purpose. In creating psychological safety, organizational communication will improve, meetings will be more effective, and overall teaming will be enhanced. According to Sinek, leadership needs to foster an environment of trust and cooperation within the group. Failures. Let's talk about our third best practice. When leaders successfully foster psychological safety within a team, they create an environment for individuals to learn from failure. According to Edmondson, there are 3 types of failure. Preventable failures. These are failures where you have the knowledge and ability to prevent it. Complex failures, new failures within a familiar context. We have processes and protocols, but the internal and external factors did not come together correctly. And last, we have intelligent failures, thoughtful actions or experiment with new territory. For organizational learning, we will focus our attention on intelligent failures. Learn to learn from failures. The general concept behind failure is that it's unacceptable for team members to be ineffective performers and that leadership did not prevent it. This general concept encourages team members to hide failures due to psychological unsafe environments. In organizational learning, a leader needs to reframe this general concept of failure. This concept of failure is reframed to expect intelligent failures, that effective performers learn from it, and share lessons learned with others. When a leader encourages this learning process for failures, it promotes team learning. According to Edmondson, to learn from failures, leaders need to first embrace the messenger. Leaders' ability to make decisions and resolve problems depends on information. If messengers are not embraced, the information process is ineffective. Second, gather data and solicit feedback. Leaders need to develop procedures, cultures that identify failure and proactively solicit feedback from all stakeholders. And last, reward failure. Leaders need to be proactive in gathering data to understand the failure and promote it as a learning opportunity. According to Amabile and Kramer, leaders that acknowledge and support small wins will instill the desired behaviors of the team. According to Kelly, to invent something new, individuals need to observe others, understand their needs, and no failure will occur. At this time, my teammate Jalen will present the last best practice of spanning boundaries and wrap us up for the day.
Thanks, Pam. As she said, the fourth recommended best practice for your team is spanning boundaries. We have 3 different kinds of boundaries here. The first one, knowledge boundaries. It's important to understand that different individuals on your team will bring different knowledge backgrounds and skill sets to the collaboration. Effective teaming requires integration of all these skill sets and perspective into one cohesive unit. For distance boundaries here, it's referring to physical distance. Technology today allows us to span teams for global distances with texting, email, video conferencing, and the like. Distance boundaries are often going to mean spanning time zones, as Sydney mentioned earlier, and even potentially language barriers. The third boundary here, vertical status boundaries. This is the inherent hierarchical boundary that comes up anytime you have a team with any form of leadership. For a team to be effective, you have to have interactive communication and collaboration from all of the members. So the technique to overcome this particular boundary is called leadership inclusiveness. This is where the leadership of the team actively seeks out and shows appreciation for any and all input of each team member. So we've given you a lot of information on teaming and a little amount of time. So here are some key takeaways for you. First, ensure your team is a team. Teams are all about sharing things, shared leadership, shared purpose, shared accountability, versus a group, which is more individual focused. It looks like you're looking for more of a virtual team, so it's important to identify any challenges you might face with virtual teamings, like technology. Everyone needs to have access to and be aware of how to use the technology you're going to need for your team. For collaboration, you might be collaborating across time zones, which might make scheduling meetings a little more difficult to make sure everyone is able to participate. For communication, speaking up is harder in virtual settings. And speaking up can inevitably lead to conflict, but conflict can be constructive for your team as long as it's not emotionally charged. And finally, we gave you some best practices, which we recommend for your team moving forward. Frame the purpose, build an environment of psychological safety, learn to learn from failure, and then learn how to span these knowledge, distance, and status boundaries. It's important to remember that no 2 teams are going to work exactly the same way, which is why we've given you the foundational blocks here based off of the 4 pillars from Edmondson, which are speaking up, collaboration, experimentation, and reflection. Take these pillars, take these best practice recommendations, and learn how to implement them for your company to build the team that you want to build and be as successful as you possibly can. We thank you for your time and attention today. Happy teaming.